Hey guys, what's going on? Dave here. I've got a new blog post up. It's called Hope Everlasting, and I wanted to make this video just kind of as a commentary, extrapolation, just additional discussion about what it was that I was trying to convey. I think the best thing about having multiple channels to be able to communicate through and to be able to express myself through is, I guess I'm more of a jack of all trades type of person. I don't think I necessarily want to limit myself or want to commit myself, I guess, to one specific medium. I enjoy writing. I enjoy the process. But I also enjoy the more natural back and forth, I guess. Although this is a kind of a one-way discussion, but just the way that the ideas flow better in a video format like this. When I'm writing, I find myself going back and editing a lot and rephrasing, and sometimes the initial spirit of what it was that I had inside, once it gets onto the page, it gets changed and altered, and I don't know. I guess I can be better about that. But the name of the blog post again is Hope Everlasting. A big thing for me is, a word like hope. For me, it's really entangled with the Christianity and that religion that I grew up in. I think everyone is really familiar with 1 Corinthians 13, that whole chapter about love, and so there's three things. There's faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. This is something that I didn't really get to touch on in the blog post, but I'll get to it as I talk about it. But the blog post is really trying to get people out of the habit of just thinking about what's happening in the world and just reacting to that, right? Certainly, that's just the default mode of operation. We are living in this world, things are happening, we react to it, but the additional step that we're able to take in terms of taking the news and deciding how it is that we're going to react to it, I think is something that's kind of been lost in this age of engagement farming and that engagement being the extent to which people are able to express their discontent or, at least get the feeling out that they did something about it. I lead the blog post off talking about, actually, I guess I left it out of the final draft, but the thing that triggered me to write this blog post was my social media feed is full of people talking about Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the Department of Governmental Efficiency and the way that they're just chopping everything off at the stem. And it's really hard for me to sit here and say that I don't see some good in this. Personally, I do feel like the federal government is too bloated, and in many ways, the entirety of what it is that we're doing as a country is in an effort to keep the federal government alive. That's the way it felt. That's the way it feels. And just my personal philosophy on life, I personally feel as though the role of the government isn't necessarily to be this boat in which we're all passengers, but it's to create an environment where each individual has the ability to pursue their right to happiness and live life the way they feel that they want to live it. And in my opinion, the thing that's really keeping a lot of people from doing this, don't get me wrong, there are things that can happen that will make people feel as though that isn't the case. But I think for a large part of people out there that are feeling stuck, that are feeling as though there's something more out there for them, but they're not quite sure what it is, I think it's an easy cop-out to blame the current situation because, yeah, I think it's factually correct in saying that I am unhappy in my situation because everything is the way that it is right now. But the agency and the power that we have as people is the ability to come up with an idea of what it is that we want and work towards that. And the way that a lot of the finger pointing and the blame game that's going on, in the media, I think it's very easy for the conversation to become, oh, this side's not doing something right, and therefore that's why something's not getting done. And it doesn't matter Democrat, Republican, Jewish, Christian. It doesn't matter. Like, all those oppositions are, it's modular, right? It's just pointing a finger. And I think pointing a finger can be deemed accurate, but really the only thing to be done about anything is just, what does it mean for you? And because it's very easy to live life in survival mode, especially the way that we've got things set up right now. I know people that are making, healthy wages, and yet they still feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck. And a lot of this is, we can put it down to poor spending habits and whatnot, but I think there's a deeper root to to situations like that. And a lot of times we get stuck in just living life the way that it's been lived, not necessarily because it's the way we want to live it, but that's because that's the way that it is. And I don't know, just this current climate of everyone kind of sitting back and, so it's so easy to point the finger at another party or another thing that's going on. But I don't know. Me personally, I'm ready to take more agency and try to take more control over what it is that is going on and be more forthright about what it is that I want to do. I'm 41 now. It's taken me quite a bit to get to this point, 41 years to be exact. And I don't think this is something that is reserved for people that get to be my age. I think there are people that are older than me that have not come to this conclusion, and there are people that are younger than me that, this is just the way they've always thought about it. But the idea is that for any given situation, you have the ability to have hope in how you want it to improve from its current situation. I think a lot of us are stuck because of the way the world is so intertwined right now. It's very easy to feel stuck in your job, where it is that you live, the people that you're surrounded by. But I urge you to take moments out of your day and just practice getting into the habit of just being quiet and listening to yourself. It's very easy and all too possible, and probably a reality for many of us. Oh, my rice is ready. Hold on. It's too easy for us to fill our attention with everything else that's going on and to not give ourselves the opportunity to just be quiet and with ourselves and think about what it is that we actually want. It can be considered I think for me, I think it was a big block of, I felt like I didn't deserve to be able to do that. It was a lot of thinking that there were steps A, B, and C that I had to do before I was capable or allowed to live that type of life. But that's not the case. I think as long as you allow yourself, or as long as you do not allow yourself the opportunity to think about, to really sit and think deeply about what it is that you want. And I think the trick to this is, it's really a vibe thing. I think the easiest way for me to say this is, there are specific outcomes that we can get attached to, that we think that these are the outcomes that we want. But the older I get, the more experience I have, the more I'm leaning towards the conclusion of, there isn't anything that happens by mistake, and in the event that things happen that I don't want to happen, it's just my expectations were wrong, and what happened is just what it is. But given that, I think, if you want to take, that's the duality of everything, right? Things are both out of our control and yet at the same time completely within our control. The part that is within our control is our ability to, it's like the color through which you are choosing to look at the situation. I guess, the rose-tinted glasses, it's a thing where it can be very easy to just view yourself from the juxtaposition of you versus the world, just comparing yourself against everything else. But the small shift in perspective that really did it for me is when I came to realize that I am part of the everything else, that there is no separating me from everything else, and that the way that I felt about everything and my attitude towards things actually had a much larger impact on the outside world than I could logically have ever conceived. But yeah, I mean, I've strayed so far, but the idea here is, again, the role of hope. Hope is, it goes beyond hoping that certain specific things are going to happen. It's not an idea of, I hope I can win the lottery, or I hope I get this job, or I hope that this girl says yes when I ask her out. Those are that is, in the English language, that's obviously a correct usage of the word hope. But the hope that I'm talking about is more of an attitude, more of a general outlook, more of a channel that you're tuned into in terms of the way you choose to look at things. It honestly is, it could be as simple as, if I'm in a hopeful frame of mind, it's not so much, it's not up to me. I understand that there are odds and probabilities when it comes to, any type of dilemma or fork in the road or outcome that isn't already known. But we are so focused on trying to be correct and siding with the probabilities that I think for a lot of people, for a lot of us, we've kind of shut off the part of the brain that likes to hope. And that's what I'm trying to rekindle here. the ability to get into that hopeful state of mind is something you can carry with you no matter what the world brings. I believe it was Viktor Frankl. Hold on, let me look this up. There's a book called Man's Search for Meaning. Yeah, by Viktor Frankl. And essentially, Viktor Frankl, he was a Holocaust survivor. He wrote about his time in the concentration camps. And it's a book exploring how, even in those most dire of situations, an exploration of hope, even in situations like that. And I think the conclusion that he's reaching is very similar to the one that I'm saying. The truth comes in many flavors, but the truth is the truth. The meaning that you are looking for is entirely up to you. The world is not going to tell you what it is. The world will tell you its interpretation. Everyone is entitled to it. But ultimately, the meaning and what it is that you're hoping for, and just the faith, I guess, that comes along with hope. Hope, faith, that Paul was really onto something. But they're all very intertwined, and I'm talking about hope, but really it's about love. There is no hope without love. But guys, it's 2025. It's much too late in the game to not be hopeful about stuff. I think we've all come so far. Shit has been crazy. Life is wild. Yet here we are. And everything that we've gone through has led us to this moment where we've come to realize that there is hope for the future, and it's up to us to determine what it is that we hope for. But as long as we have that ability to hope for something better than what we have now, there's nothing but optimism to have. Everything that's happening in the outside world, that's everyone doing what they're going to do. But you can't let that change what you are hoping for and what you are optimistic for. Because as long as you have the ability to look out on the world and see it, you have that choice to say whether the world is going to be a better place because you're here or a worse place. And I think that's a pretty easy decision to make as long as you take the time to ground yourself and remind yourself that you are part of all of this. You are not separate from it. You are not here as a stranger. Rather, this is your home. So take that as you will. Please read my blog post, leave a comment, and yeah, thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time. Bye.